If there's ever a time in my life where I think I could get folks to come together through word of mouth, this is the time, she said. If we're all having this experience in our bedrooms, why not have this experience in a park? The cold bit harder than usual that Monday in Midtown Manhattan, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones and makes you question every choice that led you outside. And yet, beneath the glowing NBC Studios marquee, nearly 100 people stood shivering, unmoving, unwilling to leave. They weren't waiting for warmth, they were waiting for him. Connor Storrie hadn't even arrived yet, but his presence was already felt, like a pulse in the pavement, like a rumor carried on winter breath. This was his late-night debut on Late Night with Seth Meyers, and for the devoted, it felt less like a TV appearance and more like a reckoning. Just days earlier, his co-star, Hudson had sent fans into hysteria after appearing on The Tonight Show. The crowd had been so overwhelming that NBC warned there would be no standby tickets, urging people not to gather at all. Jimmy Fallon would later compare the chaos to Beatlemania, half joke, half confession. Something had broken open. And now, even with the doors effectively closed, people still came. I feel like this is community-level psychosis, said Divya Saha, 29, her laughter edged with disbelief. She works inside 30 Rockefeller Plaza and had slipped downstairs during Williams' visit too. She spoke of people camping out since 2 a.m., clinging to the possibility of proximity. I haven't seen anything like this in a while. What they were orbiting was heated Rivalry, a Canadian hockey romance that was never supposed to become this, a low-budget adaptation of Rachel Reed's Game Changers novels, filmed quietly in Ontario, produced for a modest streaming service. Right before its Canadian premiere, HBO licensed it almost as an afterthought. Even Casey Bloys admitted he expected noise, not an earthquake. But earthquakes don't ask permission. The series follows Ilya Rozanov and Shane Hollander, Russian and Canadian rivals, enemies by trade, lovers in secret. Their story stretches across years of stolen moments and suffocating silence, of longing sharpened by the ice they skate on. It is about love forced underground, about desire that refuses to behave, about choosing truth even when it costs everything. Somehow, all of that escaped the screen. Now it lives in tattoo studios, offering flash designs etched with inside jokes and coded numbers. It sweats under club lights, where heated rivalry rave nights sell out in minutes. It screams through speakers at trivia nights and watch parties, spills beer on bar floors, and dares strangers to dress up as versions of themselves they didn't know they were allowed to be. Back at Rockefeller Center, a black SUV rolled up. Phones flew into the air, cheers erupted, and then collapsed when it wasn't Storrie at all, just a group of apologetic men shrinking under the weight of collective disappointment. One girl yelled, panic cracking her voice, "How am I supposed to know where to stand? I've never done this before." Eventually, Storrie arrived. It was brief, blink and you miss it brief. A few steps, a shadow, a face swallowed by glass doors. And just like that, he was gone. Someone shouted into the cold, "Who got a good video and wants to airdrop it?" Inside, Storrie told Seth Meyers he'd taken a red-eye from the Golden Globes, stopped at the Chateau Armand for 30 minutes, then kept moving, as if momentum itself were carrying him now, whether he wanted it or not. But for many fans, the real story isn't fame, it's fellowship. Days later, in a warm, glowing SoulCycle studio in Williamsburg, Brandon Crisco prepared to teach his 4th heated rivalry-themed class. Snow fell softly outside, but inside the walls were dressed in devotion. Photos of the show's stars, a Team Canada jersey, the cryptic phrase, "We're going to the cottage," a line that means everything if you know. Crisco connected to the show because it echoed his own coming out. When TATU's "All the Things She Said" thundered through a climactic episode, something clicked. He knew, he just knew. He put the class on the schedule quietly, unsure if anyone would care. By the end of the month, there would be nearly 100 such rides nationwide. People who had never clipped into a bike before showed up in hockey jerseys and branded sweatshirts, chasing sweat and something harder to name, belonging maybe, permission perhaps. And because no modern obsession is complete without strangers gathering in a park, flyers began appearing across New York. The instructions were simple, almost absurd. Meet at Thompson Square Park, sing all the things she said for exactly 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Josie Hovis, 20, organized it on instinct alone. She taped flyers to poles, slipped them into watch parties, trusted the invisible thread tying everyone together. If there's ever a time in my life where I think I could get folks to come together through word of mouth, this is the time, she said. If we're all having this experience in our bedrooms, why not have this experience in a park? And in the end, that's what Heated Rivalry has become. Not just a show, but a signal flare. A reminder that stories can still move bodies into the cold, into clubs, onto bikes, into parks. That sometimes, against all odds, a quiet love story skates straight into the center of our lives and refuses to leave.